Hey, everybody, we know you love fantasy football. Look, we love fantasy football as well, and we want you guys to join with us over at Join the Foot so that we can have great community of people that actually know what they're talking about with fantasy football all year long. Hop on over with the 3,000-plus great fans who are over at jointhefoot.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the FantasyJocks.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Just another day. Just another. How you feeling, Mike?
I got the coffee pumping
That's
through
good.
my veins.
I'm glad the voice is still here. It's on its way.
Don't worry, I'll take over if we need it.
Yeah. I'll make it through. It's Wednesday, October 26th. We are the Fantasy Footballers. Welcome back to the show. It's going to be a good one today. We have a lot going on. We have Pump the Brakes, which, let me just say, the feedback on Pump the Brakes, the new segment for Wednesdays, very good.
Yeah, the Foot Clan, they said, we love it. We like pumping the brakes. Let us know who
Yeah.
I mean, you give the advice like, I love this guy. Sometimes
You got to pump it.
you got to say, whoa.
Yeah, so we're doing that today. We've got Keep Trade Cut on the show. We also have the Foot Clan Mailbag, which is exciting. Going to also jump into any news and notes of relevance to keep you ready to go. Hopefully your waiver wires went through this morning. Maybe they're going through in a few minutes. And you're in the position now of deciding who to start, who to sit, and we're here to help you out. Now, we also Mike does a Sunday Periscope.
Darn tootin'.
So Mike hops onto the Periscope, and thousands of you join him, and he gives basically answers as many questions as he can. Does it every Sunday. Now, we got an email from Jeff, all right?
My name is Jeff.
I should have expected that. He said, I thought I heard you complaining about having to get up early for the London game, Mike.
Oh.
Yeah, but he says, down here in Australia, my league mates and I get up at 3:30 a.m. to check our rosters prior to the red zone kickoff at 4 in the morning. Said they have their Skype group going for some inevitable banter at 3:30 in the morning. And later on, they watch the Sunday night football game on delay. So here's his message to you, Mike. He says, drink some cement and harden up, lads.
Ooh.
What do you think about that?
I tip my cap to you.
Wonder how many kids
good
he
sir.
has.
That is a full-on commitment to fantasy football.
I love it.
And, yeah, I really love it. But my question to you, why are you going to sleep then if you got to wake up at 3:30 in the morning?
You
need
take
to go,
a nap the day before.
You got to go Lionel Richie all night long.
He's just telling you to toughen
And wait,
up.
hold on. But what is this? We watched the Sunday night on delay. What does that mean? They watch it like the next day?
Look, he's not here. We can't ask him.
There are some cracks and holes in this argument.
Yeah.
Clearly not dedicated. Clearly.
That's intense, man. I love
do
it.
the games play in reverse in Australia? Does it go like fourth quarter down to the first quarter?
No, they're upside down.
Oh, okay. I'm confused. I don't know the world. If you want to follow the show on Twitter,
so
you can do it at the FF Ballers. The website's thefantasyfootballers.com. We have a lot of new features coming to the Foot Clan community at jointhefoot.com, so check those out. Including today, we'll be getting our premium flex rankings, premium projections up, and all the regular rankings are always available for free on the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Now, look, I said it. It's Wednesday.
Ooh.
It's Wednesday, and that only means one thing.
O'Reilly.
Auto parts. Ow! Boom! We've got Pump the Brakes with O'Reilly.
I think my favorite time of the entire week now is just when I get to scream.
You have always felt left out.
Yeah.
Mike has always overshadowed you in so many ways.
He's been the mailbag.
He's taller than you.
Yeah,
he's got a better voice.
Better beard.
Better dietary
better
control.
looking.
Everybody has better dietary control.
Yesterday, so I hate to detour. We're gonna do Pump the Brakes, but really quickly, Mike won a bet against Jason. Mike gets to pick all of the foods for Jason every week, like all of his lunches. And Jason likes his food, and so this is entertaining. Yesterday, Mike went with the
Well, we end up at a deli where everything is just fantastic.
Oh, it's just
and
delicious.
I'm combing through. I'm like, I guess I'm just gonna have to get him a salad until I stumbled upon
The stuffed tomato.
a stuffed tomato.
With chicken salad in it.
I think the chicken salad was less chicken salad and more just mayonnaise.
Liquid mayonnaise.
It was the mayonnaisiest chicken salad.
Mike
I've
and I
ever-
had meatball submarine sandwiches.
They're so
And
good.
Jason, I'm watching him with a plastic fork eat this mayonnaise
Out
with
of
a little
tomato.
chicken salad on it out of a tomato. It was great. It was great. So, all
O'Reilly
right,
time.
who are we pumping the brakes with?
I'll jump in here.
Okay.
I'll jump in here with last week's number 1 tight end.
Oh, you
Jack.
talking about Jack?
I'm talking about Jack Doyle rules. Look, Foot Clan, I love me some Jack Doyle. I think there is great potential here for Jack Doyle, especially because he ranks as a poor pass blocker. I love that in my tight ends because that means they say, okay, well, you go catch some passes then because you're a huge human being and we need you to do that. But here's the deal. He's coming up against Kansas City. They have a very solid defense against tight end, especially for fantasy purposes. And look, he had George Clooney and Marky Mark show up for him last week. Quan Bray out, Dante Moncrief out, Philip Dorsett out, Dwayne Allen out. Everybody was out for the Colts, except, of course, T.Y. Hilton and Jack Doyle. So while I think that Jack Doyle is still an okay play this week, those who have picked him up off the waiver wire and they see that's depending on your scoring format, like for us, he's the number 3 overall tight end in our scoring system
on the season.
And you look, you go, oh yeah, plug and play Jack Doyle every week, ride or die. It's just saying, pump the brakes a little bit. You got to, you can't expect that monster performance again this week.
All right, I'm gonna go with this one. This one hurts me a little bit. I'm pumping the brakes on Jeremy Maclin.
Oh no.
Jeremy Maclin, look, the proof is in the stat line. 1 touchdown on the year, hasn't cracked 78 yards. Offense is not as good as the player. That's the truth. They don't need it. Talked about whether they need Jamal Charles. Talked about the need for Alex Smith to pass the ball. Look, he being Jeremy Maclin, 22% of the team's targets. And he's producing numbers that put you on the bench. And so he has
the fantasy bench.
The fantasy bench.
Yes.
And he has a great matchup this week, okay? He has a great matchup against the Colts. But he had a great matchup last week and did not produce. And I told everybody, if Kelsey and Maclin don't show me something against the Saints, I can no longer trust them. And that's why I'm pumping the brakes. Is he a great talent? Sure.
Yeah, you love Jeremy Maclin.
But there are great talents. There have been great talents on the Bills with Sammy Watkins that can't produce. There have been great talents like DeAndre Hopkins in an offense that can't produce right now. And Jeremy Maclin, they just don't need it.
You want to hear something that's even worse for Jeremy Maclin?
No.
Alex Smith is on pace for over 4,000 yards. On pace for over 4,000 yards, which would be
but Macklin's on pace for less than last year.
That would be Alex Smith's career best by over 500 yards.
3 for 49.
I don't know if we've mentioned it on the show that Alex Smith is just not running. He's throwing more than usual, and still Jeremy Maclin is not getting it done.
Here's the string of secondaries Maclin has played and is playing. This is a string where you would think someone would dominate. New York Jets, Pittsburgh, Oakland, New Orleans, now Indianapolis and Jacksonville. What I'm saying is pump the brakes on the expectations with these quote-unquote juicy matchups, because what happens a lot of the times is they're leaning on Spencer Ware and other guys. So, Jason, who is your pump the brakes?
My pump the brakes is a guy who has really shown over the last couple of weeks that you don't need to be worried about him. He started catching the ball. He's an elite talent, and he's been great. And that's Todd Gurley. And Todd Gurley. So here's the thing. I really, really, really like Todd Gurley rest of season. This is not a rest of season pump the brakes. His fantasy schedule is delightful. In the playoffs, he plays both Atlanta and San Francisco in weeks 14 and 16. So, I mean, you've got if you can hold on to Todd Gurley and get to the playoffs, he is going to be a huge asset. He's going to help people win a championship this year. However, if you drafted Todd Gurley, you probably drafted him with your first pick, and he stunk for the first few weeks. You might be in a hole. You might be on the outside of the playoffs trying to get in. And this is where I'm saying for you, owner, you got to pump some brakes on Todd Gurley because these next 3 weeks are going to be rough for him. He's on bye right now. He comes back off of the bye and has Carolina, who, yeah, their passing defense hasn't been good, but their running defense is great. Then the Jets after that, same exact thing. And I think you've got a 3-week stretch here where after that time, you're going to be in week 10. And if you were on the outside of the playoffs where you're, I'm not talking like, okay, you're 3-3, you're in the running, but you're not necessarily in it yet. But if you're, if you're 2-4, or what are we now, 2-5, and you need wins, I think you've got to maybe look at, because Todd Gurley's going to fetch some value. You might
look
need
at getting some better matchups.
Manufacture some wins over these next few weeks because Todd Gurley's going to have a slightly hard schedule for the next month. If you're great, if you're 5-2, congratulations.
Now, so Jack Doyle, Jeremy Maclin, Todd Gurley are the pump the brakes guys this week. Now, last week I made Matt Forte a pump the brakes, so maybe I'm trying to get Jeremy Maclin onto the right.
I see what
you see what I'm saying.
If for the longtime listeners, you're going Russell Wilson,
right?
Russell Wilson.
That was Pump the Brakes with O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
I need some freaking wipers and a brake light. So I'm hitting up on.
Wipers last about, 13 days out here in Arizona.
Yeah.
And the sun melts them, and then they become.
So I'm going to stop by that O'Reilly.
There
Auto
you go.
Parts
So let's get into the news.
Here.
News and notes from around the league.
If you were feeling blue on Monday night,
Dabba-dee.
that was because you saw Lamar Miller on the sideline quite a bit during that game.
You're feeling Alfred blue?
Yeah. So Miller injured his shoulder during the loss to the Broncos. Considered questionable for the Week 8 matchup, and Bill O'Brien basically said he's day-to-day. And so if he is out, hypothetically, missing, Alfred Blue would be a great pickup for a spot start matchup against the Lions defense. I guess deep leagues, you could look at Tyler Ervin. Tyler Ervin actually got on the field, caught a pass, but I think it's really Alfred Blue that you pay attention to.
Yeah, I certainly think it's Alfred Blue. He was the one when the shoulder went out that is going to get the work.
He looked okay.
Role in the offense. He did look okay other than the fumble. I would agree. If Lamar's out, you should absolutely pick up and play Blue this week. But given how they've dealt with everything this year, I fully expect Lamar Miller to play.
Dion Lewis, knee injury, coming off of that knee injury. Expected to practice this week. Still very questionable for Sunday.
Oh, he's not playing.
That being said, this is one of the great questions in fantasy. I think everybody is kind of, because of the hype on Lewis, maybe thinks that, he's going to come back, take over a running back one type of role.
Which he could.
I don't see it. See it.
That's fair.
Between Blunt and James White's utility in the offense, it's hard for me to see Lewis doing that.
Yeah, I'm starting to lean that direction. James White, I think, has looked very solid in what they've asked him to do on the Patriots. But Dion Lewis, to me, is still worth the stash for the long run, for that final stretch, just in case it happens.
Gary Kubiak expects to use the 1-2 punch at running back. Keep that going with Devontae Booker.
Yep.
And C.J. Anderson both looked great this past week. We'll see how that breaks down. Does that concern you as an Anderson owner?
I don't think so. I still see that C.J. Anderson's going to get those 16 carries a week, a couple receptions. I think
goal line,
yeah,
opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, they'll split those, but I think that Anderson is the better play. But now we have Devontae Booker, who is a flex option.
I still feel like, and I said this last week, if you look at the second half of last year when they had Ronnie Hillman and C.J. Anderson together, they are using them now the way that they used them last year. And so C.J. Anderson was productive the second half of the year.
But not elite.
And that's what you're going to get from C.J. Anderson.
All right. Jeremy Langford practiced.
Uh-oh.
So he can join Kadeem Carey and Jordan Howard
Ugh.
in a backfield to avoid. Falcons signed Stevan Ridley, which means nothing if you're talking about Stevan Ridley and everything if you're talking about Tevin Coleman. This tells you that Tevin Coleman's prognosis is not positive. When you go out, right after saying he's probably going to miss this week, could be longer, and you sign an insurance policy.
So you're telling me an NFL team saw that one of their star running backs had a hamstring problem. They said, you know what? we should let this guy get some rest because that's really the only way a hamstring heals up is by rest. And they went out and they got an insurance running back for some depth, and they're not going to force him to play.
Bitter LaShawn McCoy owner, anybody?
I'm just saying I'm baffled. I thought that was pretty standard.
Atlanta has the week 11 bye, so that seems like a good target. I mean, if they're going to give him multiple weeks to rest, that's one of those, okay, so, we're coming up against week 8, give him 3 weeks off. He's got the extra bye week. He comes back with, 5 weeks. So that just means Coleman's going to be not valuable for quite a while. It
means Devontae Freeman is going to be a monster.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
All right, we are going to get into the mailbag, answer listener questions. Before we do that, we're going to play a game.
Keep, trade, cut.
All right, let's play Keep, Trade, Cut. Lots of big decisions for people this week. Let's start with Russell Wilson. What do you do with Russell Wilson? Right now in our league, the 26th ranked quarterback. He's ran for somewhere between 400, 500 yards all of the past few seasons, but this year on pace for 88 yards rushing, which really diminishes his possibility. And it's not, you know what I noticed?
It kills his passing, too.
It kills his passing because he cannot get out of the pocket. A bad offensive line. Cannot make those extend. Look at Tyler Lockett's numbers. I think Tyler Lockett's numbers are 100% connected to Russell Wilson being able to buy time in the pocket, escape the pocket, and find the guy that leaks behind the defense.
Yeah, I don't hate it. And what I'm going to do with Russell Wilson, this would be a cut for me, except he's playing New Orleans. So I think that he still is a startable quarterback this week with that matchup. But I'll say this, if he comes out and he's quarterback 10 or worse on the week, you got to move on. You saw him last week against the Cardinals. He couldn't move. They sent him off to run one time, and that was it. They pulled the plug on that. So I'm probably moving on from Russell Wilson.
I am keeping Russell Wilson. I still think that he's going to heal up and be fine at the end of every single season. I mean, remember how bad he started last year, and he would have been a cut candidate. I realize that this year we've got more of a reason with the ankle to doubt him.
Ankles.
However, I right now I'm keeping him. There's no reason to get rid of him with New Orleans unless you can trade him and find great value, which you're probably not going to. I'm going to hold on to him. If he plays great this week, then maybe he gets it together and he's reignited.
I mean, he's from the ankles down. It looks like a mummy. Yeah. The way the guy's wrapped up. It's
true. I probably, Mike, you said cut if he doesn't perform. Jason, you said keep. I probably say trade if you can cash in on some of that vibe from last year and make that narrative about him bouncing back.
And we're talking redraft, of course.
Sure. Blake Bortles, Carson Palmer. Keep, trade, cut on those two guys.
I'm cutting Blake Bortles.
Yes.
Blake Bortles has been terrible. Good matchup, bad matchup. It doesn't matter. He has just looked completely outclassed by the NFL this year, and until he proves it to me,
he's in sweatpants and everyone else is in a tuxedo.
Yeah, so he's a flat cut.
Were the sweatpants purchased by Gus Bradley on discount?
Of course.
Did he buy them for his players?
In bulk. Look,
he's Allen Robinson's been wearing them too.
Yeah.
Those things are very much related. Carson Palmer, on the other hand, he plays Carolina this week. Again, a good rushing defense, a terrible secondary right now in Carolina. I think that he's a great play this week, so I'm certainly not going to cut him. I don't think you're going to get any trade value for him, but I am going to try to hang on and keep him around. He's got a pretty good playoff schedule this year with New Orleans and Miami, the first 2 weeks of the fantasy playoffs. So I'm keeping Carson Palmer.
Yeah, I like that logic, but I mean that's tough here. I don't know if I would play him against Carolina, and then they have the bye week after that. So you're talking for me 3 weeks before you can even use him.
All right, let's talk about running backs. Keep, trade, cut, the Doug Martin, Jacquizz Rodgers situation. How do you navigate that? Are we going to pretend like we have more knowledge than we do?
Well, the knowledge that we have is the Tampa Bay Times are reporting the Bucs will be very cautious with Doug Martin since Quiz is killing it. It's a hold for me.
I love this situation.
It's a hold for me. Yeah,
it's a trade for if I can get both. If I can get Quiz and Doug Martin, they are to me a top 10 option rest of season. I would I would rather have them as a combo package than almost, I mean, there's probably 9 other running backs I would prefer.
Would you trade Todd Gurley for Doug Martin, Jacquizz?
That's a great question. If like I said earlier on the Pump the Brakes, if I needed wins now, I think I would. I mean, the next 3 weeks for Jacquizz Rodgers are Oakland, Atlanta, and Chicago. Those are far, much more winnable assets. Plus, you get a bye week out, right? Because Gurley's on bye this week. I think Quiz and Doug Martin, that's just I love the situation. I'm not scared off by it at all. And if I've got one, I'm going to trade for the other.
Before we move on to the rest of the Keep Trade Cut, we want to thank today's sponsor, the Fandings app. You've heard us talking about them. You've heard us getting into some heated and ferocious sports debates here on the Fantasy Footballers, and that's all going down on the Fandings app. Look, everyone knows the feeling. You know when you're right, and you know that feeling when you're in an argument, and you can't end with a winner. That's the worst. On the Fandings app, there's winners. You argue your point and you win. Fandings is bringing a solution to that problem, and we thank them for that. And look, Fandings, they're constantly growing, constantly adding new features. They just added a monthly leaderboard and player rankings. You let the world know that you're right and you know how to prove it. This is something that I'm very interested in, proving that I'm always right. The Fanding they feature questions on the hottest topics in sports every day, so you can debate your friends or your face off and destroy some random schmuck on the Fandings app. Look, the debates are judged and juried right there. So download the Fandings app free in the App Store. You can go to fandings.com. And, of course, you let them know that the Fantasy Footballers sent you. And Android people out there, do not worry. Starting in November, fandings.com has your back. So get your neurons flexing. Get ready to show your stuff and debate.
I'm always on there voting. So you get the app, you make your debate, and I'm gonna vote.
Judge Jason.
Yes.
You need to come out with that TV show.
It would be great.
Come in.
Just saying.
You're really good at
Solid
bird
rating.
law.
All right, so check out the Fandings app. It's awesome, guys. And also, we want to thank today's sponsor, 5-4 Club. You've heard us talk about them. Look, I can't handle making myself look good, so I let 5-4 make me look good on a regular basis. Look, they have the absolute best solution for guys like us who don't want to take time to go out, try to shop, try to figure style out. There is no place else that you can get hooked up with incredible clothes like 5-4 Club for only $60 a month, and you will stand out from the crowd. You will not blend in, and it's great. There is an easy sign-up process. You go on, you personalize your style. There's a profile for every type of guy, whether you're looking for clothes for the office, a lazy weekend, whatever. 5-4's got you covered. It helps you build your wardrobe, diversify your look, and it is a great style that they predetermine. It's always in season. The clothes fit great. We love them. We've been using them forever. I was a customer long before they ever sponsored this show, wanted to get behind this show. So go to 54club.com if you want to find out how easy it really is. Use the promo code BALLERS at sign-up. And get this. For our listeners, you get 50% off the first month of 5-4 Club packages. That's promo code BALLERS.
Ballers.
For 50% off the first month of 5-4 Club packages. The offer expires at the end of this month. So hurry up. Go over there, 54club.com. Use the promo code BALLERS.
If I was a grown adult in like the 1970s when they didn't have 5-4, I would look like a buster.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look,
if I have to do it, that's a situation.
We have said repeatedly that you could probably earn more money for this show by just standing on the street corner.
Come on.
The way that you normally dress. And I mean that with all due respect, Mike.
Then it's okay. I see.
My voice is gone. Jerick McKinnon, keep trade cut.
You got to keep him. He's a starting running back in the NFL. Minnesota, despite their woes at running the ball, he's still the main guy. So I'm going to keep him.
Keep trade cut Matt Jones, the fumble, the human fumble.
Oh, my goodness. I don't even know if you can trade him right now. Do you think you can trade Matt Jones and get anything good?
I think he's a keep.
I think he's a keep. I think you can trade Matt Jones and get a little bit of value for him. I would be willing to take some offers on him, but we've said this before, and it's worth saying, whenever you're trading a running back, make sure you're getting another running back back. Okay? People think that, I've got enough depth, and they trade a running back for a wide receiver, and then...
So they don't have somebody throw in an Asiata. They don't have somebody throw in a Mike Davis, something like that.
Get something back when you get rid of a running back.
All right, keep trade cut. Chris Ivory and TJ Yeldon. Are they at the point where, you know how Ty Montgomery was given running back eligibility? Would they just remove them and just give them like bench eligibility?
You can't play them.
Ivory and Yeldon right now.
They are close to a cut for me. I've got Chris Ivory, sadly in one of my main leagues, and I question every single week, should I just cut him? And I just brought up, like, you need running backs. I don't cut running backs. If there's a starting running back, I always have them. So I guess the reality is I'm still holding on to them.
Securely on your bench.
Securely on my bench, and I would love to get rid of them. They've got no trade value. Basically, they are the guy that you're going to drop for every waiver claim of a better running back.
Right. No, that's fair. Guys, I need an answer. Keep trade cut Jordan Howard.
Ooh. Trade. There are still people.
Are you interested?
I am so not interested. I am interested in trading Jordan Howard. There are, we get so many questions asked of us, and there's a lot of people been asking me about, hey, should I take this trade? And they're receiving Jordan Howard. So there are people considering all sorts of trades that when I look at those trades, Jordan Howard is bringing Jordan Howard value, like name, of the last few weeks. And I'm just, look, pretty soon it looks like it might be a three-headed monster for a bad offense. Why, it looks like, and
it's the Hydra.
Trade.
Yeah.
Howard.
Look, Jordan Howard to me is, we talked about, you get a throw-in running back in the trade. If you want to throw in Jordan Howard, for me, that's the only way I'm taking him. He's a bonus.
Keep trade cut Kristen Michael.
Oh, come on, that's a keep.
All right, just coming off, has a great matchup this week.
Yeah,
he does have a great matchup.
Keep trade cut Ryan Mathews, who also went to school with Matt Jones when it comes to fumbling.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen a different approach from both coaches, right? Because for Washington, they said, hey, we're going to have to take some reps away from Matt Jones. And in Philadelphia, they've actually said we still have full confidence in Ryan Mathews. Nothing's going to change.
Well,
I'm just saying.
No, I mean, Doug Peterson said it's definitely a concern. We don't want to see it, especially in those situations. We've got to continue to find out if he's tired, where he's at the end of the game. If we need to put Wendell, Smallwood, or Sproles in there, we'll have to find out more about that. And then, what you said, he's not down on Ryan. So,
well, the good news is I went to the grip shop, and those things you squeeze that get your hands stronger. I sent like 10 of them to Ryan Mathews. So I'm keeping him.
Here's the thing with Ryan Mathews. I'm never going to be confident starting him from this point forward for the rest of the season. Good matchup. I'm still not confident. I don't like it. So if I can get value for him, then I would trade him.
All right, last set of running backs I want to talk about. Isaiah Crowell, Duke Johnson. Keep trade cut on both of those guys. You have the potential for McCown to return this week, Kessler, and probably some wide assortment of quarterbacks we've never heard of or seen that will be signed and then playing soon for the Browns.
I'm going to keep Crowell. I mean, I'm probably going to keep them both. But, I mean, Duke Johnson had the much off-season hyped Duke Johnson has not really performed anywhere near what people were hoping. I mean, he's still catching the ball a ton. He's just not getting yards.
If you're in PPR, I think Duke Johnson is certainly the guy I would prefer the rest of season.
I feel like Johnson's done all he can. I mean, he had been running for a pretty good clip, quarterback carousel, no wide receivers.
That's fair.
And he's still a running back 3 right now. So
yeah, I'm not going to.
But you're right. No, he's not a fantasy mover and shaker.
Yeah, I think both those guys are just keeps.
All right, wide receivers. I want to ask the question: Davante Adams. What do you do with Davante Adams?
Well, you probably just picked him up,
and you're going to play him this.
Well,
week?
Yes, you picked him up, but the keep trade cut applies, especially in the keep and the trade part of things, right? Are you picking him up to play him because you feel like that was a breakout?
I would love to trade him.
I would love to play him this week, and I would love to trade him this week.
So you think he has a good week?
Or next week. I do think he has a good week. He's got a great matchup, a pretty
high. In Atlanta.
In Atlanta. Trufant is not going to be on him. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. In fact, Vegas has it by a wide margin, the highest-scoring game of the week. I am completely fine playing Davante Adams this week. And then I'm fine trading him this week. I'm fine trading him next week. I don't expect him to keep up plug-and-play starting value in my lineup. And I think you could package trade him. If he has another big week, you could package trade him for a weekly plug-and-play rest of season type of starter.
The thing I find interesting is his breakout was not just a high fantasy score. 5 catches, but he caught 2 bombs, and so he put up 30 points. This was 13 for 130 and 2 touchdowns. So it's interesting. And he has 5 touchdowns on the year.
We need to bring this up. I regretted that we didn't get this into yesterday's waiver wire show. Waivers have cleared, I'm sure, but Mike talked about this last week. We have talked about it before, and even after waivers have cleared, I am sure that in most leagues, I think it's like 90% of leagues, James Starks is still available. The reason I bring this up is part of the reason why I'm willing to trade Davante Adams. You saw last week, Aaron Rodgers had to throw for the most passing attempts in Green Bay history. The franchise, this long storied franchise with great quarterbacks, with Brett Favre, have never thrown for as many times as they did last week. So, yeah, you're going to have big fantasy production from Cobb and Davante Adams and Ty Montgomery. But when James Starks comes back, they're going to have a legitimate running back, and that's going to, that's going to change the value of the wide receivers. And also, there's not a lot of starting running backs out on waivers. But James Starks is, if you've got an IR, pick him up, move him to your IR, and just wait until he's back.
And just a real quick, because this is on my mind, of a guy I want to stash, I think I'm going to pick up Paul Perkins.
He got some early reps.
Going into the bye week, I don't know. You just call that a gut call of, I think Paul Perkins might start getting the job here.
All right, let's run through these wide receivers. Keep, trade, cut Julian Edelman.
Keep.
Make these quick.
Keep,
trade, cut Alshon, Jeffery, and Cameron Meredith.
Keep Alshon, trade for Alshon. And I'm going to keep Cameron for now. I'm not going to cut him. I want to see what he does with Cutler first.
I'd be happy to cut Cam Meredith. I'm fine to keep him. I'm trading for Alshon.
Keep, trade, cut Will Fuller.
Keep.
Keep, trade, cut Chris Hogan.
Cut.
Yeah,
he's a cut for me.
You can cut him if you got it.
What do you do with Travis Benjamin?
Oof. Trade. If I can get value for him, I feel like I've said it before, but the roulette you have to play, I just don't like having them.
Yeah, someone asked me this week, they were doing a trade, getting a wide receiver, wanted to know if they should cut Sterling Shepard or Benjamin. I told him Benjamin because you never know which week is going to be the week for a wide receiver there.
Well, at least Benjamin can boom. I would have cut Shepard.
I think Shepard can boom.
Can he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the odds are low for both of them. Benjamin's had what, one good week?
Yeah, it's funny because you go.
I think Benjamin's had one boom week. He's the 31st ranked wide receiver right now, and he had 1 week with 28.5 points. He's had two. He scored 2 touchdowns.
Good weeks, yeah.
He's scored 2 touchdowns, and they were both on the same week. He hasn't scored the rest of the week.
That's
the year.
Fair.
So, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's a call. What do you do with Sterling Shepard? Keep, trade, cut.
He's a cut for
me. I think definitely a cut.
John Brown.
Keep
him.
I still really like John Brown rest of the season.
If he can get the sickle cell figured out for the legs where he's not experiencing just constant pain, the John Brown is a keep for sure.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Keep, trade, cut tight ends. Travis Kelce.
Just keep him.
Gotta.
Cameron Brate.
I would cut him. He's a weekly stream.
Jason, you and I have both signed and then cut him in the past 2 weeks.
We've both done it like 3 times. I think I even tried to drop him again
do it right now
after I got him for Doyle. Cameron Brate is just one of those guys. If he's got a good matchup, pick him up.
All right, we're going to do the mailbag and then the Thursday night preview. So you ready to go?
Let's do it.
Mailbag.
Mailbag, yeah! All right, if you have a question for the show, head over to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Click the Submit a Question button in the upper right-hand corner. Send us your question. You can also send us your voicemail question, 302-464-TFFB. We're going to play some of those. We're going to be working the mailbag into the other shows a little bit more like we did last year, sneaking it into the Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday shows. So send us your questions. We're here to help. First one comes in from Chris in Philly. That's how it's
Filet?
It's Philly.
Oh,
but it's
okay.
Filet.
Mignon?
Yes, delicious.
Hey, ballers.
Hey.
Other than Julio, my receivers all seem to be matchup dependent. So he has like Snead and Crowder, Alshon, Coates. Should I try to trade for Allen Robinson and gamble on getting some value? In other words, do you buy low on Allen Robinson, and would you do it with Snead, Crowder, Alshon, or Coates?
I think Alshon is not matchup dependent. Alshon has been quarterback dependent.
I would not trade Alshon for A-Rob.
No, I would not either. I would rather have Alshon. I think Julio and Alshon are great. If you could then turn somehow a Snead, Crowder, Coates combination into A-Rob, I would, but I don't think you can.
Okay. All right. Question from Michael in Dallas. He says, is this a fair trade? Dez Bryant and Amari Cooper for Ezekiel Elliott in a half-point league.
Yeah.
If you need a running back, sure.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
I think there's nothing wrong with it.
I mean,
It's totally team dependent.
to get a top-tier elite running back is very difficult at this point in the season. You're going to have to overpay.
Well, I don't even think this is overpaying. I would rather have the Zeke side of this trade.
Okay.
But because of what you just mentioned, I mean, Zeke is there's no team out there that has Ezekiel Elliott that hasn't benefited all year long from an unfair advantage at running back.
Okay.
That's unfair.
Here's a what we're calling fair or foul. These are commissioner-related questions a lot of the times. This was from Matthew. Get this, from Mumbai, India.
Bonjour.
So every once in a while, I wonder if people hear that and they just think you're as dumb as you're not. You're not dumb. All right. Do you think it's cheating, i.e. collusion, to do a temporary trade?
Yeah, probably. Let's hear.
So he's in two quarterback.
I was waiting. I was reserving judgment.
He's in two QB leagues where buys make it hard to fill out rosters. Last week, I almost did a 1-week trade with Hoyer for West as he needed an RB and he needed a quarterback. Plan was to trade back after the week with the option to extend for a second week if you need to do it. Is this fair or is this collusion? If it's fair, do you have to tell the entire league in advance of it and with your intentions to do so? What do you guys think? This is kind of a sticky situation.
Here, I guess it's like this, right? Like, let's say my bye weeks and your bye weeks lined up where I need a running back, you need a wide receiver, and next week it's going to be opposite. And we go, hey, well, I'll make this trade, and then we'll make that trade back. I guess there is a situation where that is actually just fair, but you cannot have it be a 2-week trade. It's a trade. If my team gets better this week and your team gets better this week, that's a fair trade. That's not collusion. If next week doing that same trade again made my team better and your team better, that's fine. But if someone gets injured in that deal,
like Brian Hoyer breaking his arm,
exactly. That's
a situation.
You're not.
I'm not trading back.
No, you're not trading back because there's no gentleman agreements of future trades. That part is we can look at it and say, look, I think maybe next week we'll want to undo this. Maybe next week we'll want to do this trade again. But, you got to take it one trade at a time. In general, I think looking at like a temporary trade is wrong and is foul.
Yeah, I don't think.
It just doesn't make me feel good.
Yes, exactly. I don't think you're breaking any rules here. It just feels kind of gross.
What if you decided you did want to do it? Do you believe you have to tell the league that you're doing a trade back or just do it behind the scenes?
I would just do it.
I feel like the guarantee of the trade back cannot be part of the original trade. And so you can't tell the league because if you're guaranteeing that next year or next week we're trading back, then it's foul.
Yeah, I don't like the whole thing. Just don't do it. How about that? Plan ahead in other ways. All right, here's a question from Jess in El Paso, Texas. Should I start Fitzpatrick on an angry comeback against the Browns? What does that mean?
Because he's back and he's furious.
Oh, yeah.
Against the Browns' struggling defense after being benched, or Mariota against the weak secondary of the Jaguars, I would start Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick.
The Jaguars' secondary is not weak.
It's not.
So
They
appear that way because of early season
and because of their record.
They've been branded by like the Jaguars. When you win, unfortunately for that team, when you say Jaguars, you don't think of a winning strong team, but their defense is actually pretty good.
Jalen Ramsey's looked great. Yeah, I would go Fitzpatrick as well. He's my stream of the week.
Yeah, that's I think they're both good matchups.
Yeah.
Mariota was my stream, but I like Fitzpatrick more, as Jason brought up yesterday. All right, Joe in St. Paul, who would you rather have long-term, Allen Robinson or Brandon Marshall?
As in long-term for the season or long-term for life?
I think probably just a redraft league. Yeah, it is a redraft league.
Okay.
Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, it's Marshall. Cole in Las Vegas wants to know, what kind of value does Dez Bryant have rest of season? Is he worth trading for and try to get that top 5 potential we all know and love about Dez Bryant?
I think he is.
Really?
I do, and I figured you
the number 2 wide receiver for Dallas?
Goodness. He is not the number 2 wide receiver for Dallas. I think he is worth trading for. He has, New York, Tampa Bay, and Detroit in the playoffs. I mean,
that's pretty good.
The rest of the season, I think he's good. I think you can get him pretty doggone cheap right now. I would be looking to trade for Dez Bryant. The nice thing is the value that he's carrying right now means that you're not going to have to rely. You could probably trade for Dez Bryant and have him not need to be in your lineup until he gets it done.
The thing about Dez Bryant for me is I don't see a situation, if Dak Prescott remains the quarterback, I don't see a situation where Dez Bryant gives you that elite play like 2 years ago when he smashed it for your fantasy playoffs. I only see that happening if Romo comes back.
So you have the potential, though. You have some percentage chance that he could do it.
Yes.
And then you have the potential that a couple losses by Dak and Romo's right back in under center for the playoff run.
Yeah, so there's a ton of variables. I'm not saying don't trade for him, but I'm not trading away a good starter on my team for the hope of Dez Bryant.
I think I am willing to do that. And just as a reminder, week 2 with Dak, he was 7 for 102. The next week, he got in the end zone with Dak. So he had back-to-back decent weeks there. I think people remember that week 1 where he had 1 reception for 8 yards.
I'm just saying he was decent, but he wasn't.
He never felt like he had the potential to be elite with Dak because of the way they run the offense.
Yes. Sure.
All right, question from Zach in Boston. Look, he makes it simple. He says he's got a case of the Beazles.
Ooh.
And he needs more cowbell.
Cowbell does not cure the Beazles.
Looking to trade away Cole Beasley for Michael Thomas. Should I ask for more? Package more? What do you think about that trade?
Oh, man.
I like it.
I'd
cash in on Beasley before Dez gets back?
That's why I like it.
But Beasley was still good.
Man, are there any better nicknames than like
the Beazles?
Well, no, I just meant like Dez, Dak, and Zeke. That's the crew over there.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
There's a bunch of
and
cool
then you
guys.
got the Beazles.
And then you got the Beazles.
The Beazles is getting it done.
Got the heart
weekly.
ring bringing them together.
I view these guys for fantasy purposes in about the same tier. So if you're in a PPR league, I'm going to stick with Cole Beasley. If it's standard, I might go to Michael Thomas.
I think I go to Thomas on both. And I think I do that because Thomas represents to me more upside, more prototypical wide receiver, better quarterback situation, higher volume, better red zone. I feel like Beasley's red zone production is more anomalous than Michael Thomas's.
Yeah, and that's fine. But that's why I was saying it's standard. But Cole Beasley has just been so reliable, man.
All right, so let's talk about this Thursday night football game, preview what's going on tomorrow. We have the Jaguars. Well, teach me how to pronounce that again.
Jaguars. Yes.
Jaguars. Jaguars.
It's pronounced Jaguars.
That's in Arizona.
Just keep saying it like that.
All right, so you've got the Jags. You've got the Jags.
The Wires.
The Jags and the Titans. Divisional battle in Tennessee. Bortles has been bortling. Mariota's looked good. I like him as a stream this week. We talked about Ivory and Yeldon. We've talked about Allen Robinson at length. What do you make of, DeMarco Murray's an auto start? What are the big questions in this game? Because I don't see a ton.
I know that you say we've talked about Allen Robinson at
I think
length,
he's the big question.
but he is the question where owners right now go, do I start him? And the answer is yes, you do start him. I learned this last year when he was breaking out. He had the bad games. You're going to have to deal with his bad games in order to get his giant blow-up games. Now, if you've got 3 great wide receivers, then sure, you can 3 great and then Allen Robinson. Okay, I'm not talking to you. You could bench him. But most teams are going to need to play him, and I think you're going to have to just keep living with it until he rights the ship there.
Here's what we're talking about with the Jaguars' defense. They've only allowed 9.3 yards per reception, which is first in the league. So even though they seem to be this more vulnerable defense, they actually have been pretty good against the pass. Another nugget for the Bortles fans out there. He's thrown 1.5 interceptions per game.
Is that bad?
That's not good. That's not good. Play just mistakes. Look, this
He's
offense.
leading the league.
Yeah, he's leading the
Don't
league.
you want to lead the league?
He did last year. See, that's the thing. Last year, we said this. I mean, I'm gonna say this. All offseason, we said this. Blake Bortles was in prime regression, where people wanted to take him so high. He was a prime regression candidate because that interception total was so high last year that he had, what did we say? The proportion of running touchdowns and running around the goal line was so low that his numbers were artificially inflated.
Man, people got so.
Now, I didn't think he would become so horrible so quickly again, but the regression by itself was going to hurt what Bortles, and they were so high on Bortles. Bortles was a top.
Oh man, people got so upset when on Twitter when shade was thrown on Bortles. The Bortles fans just, what are you talking about?
He is the ultimate garbage man. Look, I've heard rumors in the bushes that Hollywood's going to remake Men at Work with Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez.
Really?
And Blake Bortles is
He's
getting a starring role.
Well, he may need a new career soon.
He might. No.
Whenever
he'll
there's
be a backup.
Whenever there's discussion and whenever Chad Henne's name comes up somehow during the week, you know it's not going good. So who do you have in this game?
I've got the
DeMarco Murray.
Yeah. If you're talking
I
about
guess
teams,
I meant picking the winner.
I've got the
okay.
Titans here. They're at home. They're favored by 3.5. The Jags have not been playing well. The Titans have been playing pretty decent, so I'm gonna take the Titans in this one.
Yeah, I'll certainly take.
I want to
the
push
Titans.
that almost upset button, and I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not giving Gus the credit, the chance. So, hey, we're going to close this one out today. Thanks for listening to us, and thanks for 5-4. Thank you to 5-4 Club for sponsoring us today. Like I said, if you don't have time for shop, you hate you hate shopping, let 5-4 handle making you look good. Curious how easy it is? Head over to 54club.com. Use the promo code BALLERS and sign up to get 50% off the first month of 5-4 Club packages. That's promo code BALLERS. 50% off. Give it a shot. Offer ends at the end of October.
Look fresh.
Absolutely. Tomorrow. What do we got going on tomorrow, gentlemen? We have so much going on tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow is we start
jam-packed.
We start breaking down the matchups. We got that scorching new segment that we've been
on
teasing
top
out.
of starts of the week.
Oh my dude.
So
Tomorrow's show might be 3 hours long.
it can't be because we also have the Foot Clan Mailbag exclusive episode to record tomorrow.
The Footcast.
The Footcast in the afternoon. And we have the live stream for all jointhefoot.com members.
Is that tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
We should just
My goodness.
My voice isn't going to make
I
it.
need to go to bed at 8 tonight.
We should just set a camera up here and hit live.
Every day, all day?
And especially on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Doing work.
Tomorrow's going to be busy. So, all right, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for all of the iTunes reviews.
Yes.
If you've been listening to us, if you're new to the show, we welcome you in. We thank you for joining us. Click the subscribe button. If you like what you hear, leave us a review. We appreciate those things as an independent podcast producing fantasy content all year round. You guys are the reason we do it in more ways than one. And so it's pretty cool. Jointhefoot.com, the people reached out that run our community, and they said, hey, we wanted to interview you guys, see how you got started, and asked us, basically, what makes you go? And the answer was easy. It's the listeners.
It's you guys.
It's the listeners that make us go. We couldn't be doing any of this without your support. So we appreciate that. And I don't just mean financial. I mean everything else. I mean reaching out to us, feedback, supporting us, telling your friends about us. all the things that you've done over the years. You're responsible for some of these awards that we managed to win. We're very thankful and appreciative of that, and we let that, thankfulness drive the show. We let it drive the decisions we make and the things we try to put out there. And we're always trying to give you more.
I'm in the back seat, man.
Just like the Periscope. I mean, the Periscope was something we wanted to add this year just as a way to add something extra, something to make it easier, something to make it more fun on Sunday mornings. So definitely, check that out this Sunday.
Then this Sunday, the 3:30 a.m. Australia Periscope is going to happen, too.
Oh, my goodness. Is that a guarantee?
Nope.
It was worth a try. Drink some cement.
Hey, thanks to FantasyJocks.com, where winners go. The promo code is footballers. Get some trophies or some championship belts.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.